Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, the Ox.
And I'm the Rat.
You are. So, what's up? What's new? What's happening?
Not much. We were just discussing, this is episode 36. We're thinking possibly we might take a season break at 40 episodes. Since we don't have too many listeners currently. I don't think too many people will miss it, but...
Well, yeah, it's also an opportunity to retool, rethink, and I'll be doing some work around Fables professionally, so... And I want to finish my my education. Finish that very soon, and stretched pretty thin as it is, but give us some time to think about where we're going, what we're doing, what's working well, what isn't.
I might be traveling, or at least away from my domicile, so probably recording would be more difficult in the coming months.
Yeah. At least you can travel. Can't travel over here. Fucking ridiculous. But yeah. We can't travel, and it's a nightmare. I hate it. And, nobody were like, oh, do you want to do something? The weather's nice. And people are like, what about the stay-at-home order? Like, oh my god, it's just the worst. Like, how is this helping you? Yeah.
30% vaccinated. Canada.
Yay. And then, okay, you want to place a bet? What do you think? Do you think if we even got 100%, would the government stop locking things down?
Well, technically, we need 200%.
How's that?
2 shots. But maybe it seems like they might open it up in July. They're teasing July because that's when everybody's supposed to have, I guess, if they wanted it, they could get it by then, the shot.
Yeah. So a few people at work got the shot and they got sick from the shot.
Yeah,
which certainly begs the question.
It can happen with anything, any type of shot. Yeah, I know a few people at work got it as well. My mom just got it. She said she was fine. Didn't get sick. Person at work got the first shot and they're fine. Second shot, they said the actual shot itself hurt, and then the arm later hurt, and they were tired.
Yeah, that's not so bad, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the point in the lockdown, as I've said so many times. When is it going to stop? I don't know. That they clearly don't have a plan here. Yeah.
Well, hopefully by summer.
Oh, fuck yeah.
End of summer.
I bet you this is going to be just lockdown after lockdown after lockdown regardless. I don't think it'll matter.
I think if you look at the UK stats, I believe they've gone down. They have a fair amount of vaccinations. And I think deaths went down, and it seems like transmission went down as well. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about the transmission, right? It's not supposed to stop transmission or movement of the virus. That's one of the poorly understood things about it. So, like, you can be vaccinated but still be a carrier.
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing. The transmission is down. So that could just be a dip.
Yeah, or people, I mean, that's the other part of this. Like, we kind of, like, look at the data and we're like, oh, this is how they're doing it. They are, every number on there has been done, like, people just know automatically if they have it. It could just be the people, if they have it, quote unquote, right? If the virus is in them somehow, and they don't have symptoms, then they're not going to get checked, so they don't count as a case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So very weird stuff. Important to keep that in mind. But with that in mind, what do you say we get going here?
Let's do it.
All right. This one is called the Peacock. Do not sacrifice. Oh, I just ruined it.
Well, only the first words.
Do not. Yeah, that's right. I didn't know why I went there immediately. Okay, the Peacock. The peacock, they say, did not at first have the beautiful feathers in which he now takes so much pride. These Juno, whose favorite he was, Juno's a Greek goddess. Juno, Jupiter, I think so? I don't know, something like that. Granted to him one day when he begged her for a train of feathers to distinguish him from the other birds. So the god gave him, is it him? Yeah, him a gift. Then, decked in his finery, gleaming with emerald, gold, purple, and azure, he strutted proudly among the birds. All regarded him with envy. Even the most beautiful pheasant could see that his beauty was surpassed. Presently, the peacock saw an eagle, soaring high up in the blue sky, and felt a desire to fly, as he had been accustomed to do. Lifting his wings, he tried to rise from the ground, but the weight of his magnificent train held him down. Instead of flying up to greet the first rays of the morning sun or bathe in the rosy light among the floating clouds at sunset, he would have to walk the ground, more encumbered and oppressed than any common barnyard fowl.
Ouch.
Yes.
Now I even forget what you said at first, so...
Good, so that was a good story.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh. So, what did it say that he was flying around at first? Was that the...
Yeah, let me see here. I think that's implied, because they did not at first have beautiful feathers. So that's implied, I think.
So he's ugly, and he's like, Juno, help me. And he got his wish, but he didn't realize that there was a secondary outcome that comes with that wish. Yes. So, carefully consider, even though that's not what it started with, carefully consider your desires before giving all your stuff to a god. No, I'm thinking carefully consider your wants and wishes before, I can't put it in a good way, but before putting all your chips in. So I'm kind of putting all your chips in towards a certain kind of, I have to do this, or I need to buy that, or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of on the right track. This has like a little bit of they always have a moral dimension, but this one's a little bit deeper. It's do not sacrifice your freedom for the sake of pomp and show, and pomp and circumstance, right? It's for finery, his finery. Right. That's what kept him down on the ground.
Right. Makes sense. I mean, that's pretty much what all celebrities have to sacrifice.
Well, they don't have to, right? I guess that's the question. That's the question, do you have to, or is it a choice? Like, can you think of celebrities, for example, that are not, like, all flashy? Like Seth Rogen or something.
That's true. Seth Rogen, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, exactly.
People that just have a farm somewhere. David Chappelle.
Yeah, he did though, right? And then he reclaimed his freedom, and now he's somehow funnier than he ever was before.
Yeah, so I guess it's a choice. But what's interesting is all these youngins coming up and everybody's trying to, get a little piece of social media. But in the end, well, we can guess what's going to happen. A fair amount of them will have their issues.
Yeah, I mean, if you're presenting a fake front to the world, or if you're not able to be who you are, you might just end up becoming that which you present, and I don't think that's always a good thing. You fly too close to the sun, unlike the peacock who can't actually fly now. You give up a lot to be a public figure, that's for sure.
Yep. Did you ever go to Victoria?
Yeah, I love that city.
Did you ever go to Beacon Hill Park?
Don't know. Man, I gotta stop going places with people I don't like. There's so many places I wanted to go there, but no.
It's down by the water, like towards the ocean. And there is a peacock farm. And the peacocks do indeed fly slightly because they're able to jump over like a 9-foot chain link fence. And sometimes they're sitting on top of that fence. And usually they're just kind of walking around the park. So, I mean, they can get up a little bit. They're not going to be soaring in the sky, though. One even went as far as a friend's house in their backyard.
Yeah, then they're vermin at that point, right?
Yeah.
Goddamn peacocks.
Get out of my backyard.
Yeah, but like, isn't that sort of like the tragedy, right? Watch them struggle. A bird that once could do all of this gave up everything just to, have sex with another bird.
Yeah. I suppose so. I never saw them in their glory days of flying.
Well, that's not... Okay, well, I guess the challenge would be, like, is there a bird that's not given up at anything and is, like, gorgeous regardless? How about a bird of paradise we've all seen planet Earth, right? Can you have both?
Probably, yeah. I think those things can fly. Usually you just see them dance. So they can dance. They can fly. They have beautiful feathers. They have it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again,
some people just have it all. So you can't envy others and be like, yeah, I need that flashy coat.
You gonna write a fable now?
Maybe that's what we should do.
I think that's a great idea. But I think like literally everything's been covered. The more I look into it,
you just make you just go off on some tangent, some like weird direction, and it'll create something eventually. Come up with 2 characters, the pig and the snail.
Pig and I remember I had this running joke with another person I worked with that was using funny like Russian voices. Well, I thought they were funny, and it was 2 characters that would come out when we'd be drinking, and it would be the porcupine and bear. And like the plot line of everything was like, oh, stupid bear, get over here. I am porcupine. It didn't make any sense, but those characters could play through a lot, I don't know.
Prickly character.
I thought it had legs.
It does have spines.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to see. So, do we have anything where you sacrificed some freedom to get what you want?
Well, I guess, don't we always do that when we enter a relationship? Yeah, I mean, isn't that what it is? Ideally, it's not yeah, maybe that's the wrong way.
But For a guy or a girl, I mean, it depends. If you were, well, you're trying to put on a flashy coat, right? Like to get the mate. That's the odd thing. Trying to, show your best self. And then when you do get the mate, then your freedom is gone in that regard.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're a praying mantis, right?
Yes, then your life is gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I think maybe that says more about a bad relationship, perhaps. You definitely should be adding to each other. I don't think that it has to be one or the other, but that's probably how most of it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says,
but also in terms of, if you're in that sort of cycle, if you're going out, drinking, whatever, trying to meet people. I mean, in terms of that, I mean, that sort of freedom is gone. Freedom to choose.
Well, a lot of things are gone. Like, I don't, like, for example, I'm like a totally different person. And some of it's good though, so that's where I need to be careful. I mean, some of it's really good. Like, I'm super productive. I don't waste time. I'm always doing things to help, or as much as I can, around the house, or to do this or that. I don't know. It's definitely, but there's a lot of things that, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could just do this. Like selfish things that don't really matter in the end. But it's about like who I was before. But to be fair, I didn't like that person, so I wasn't a big fan of myself before. I don't know. Are you giving stuff up? Yes, but is it a sacrifice? Maybe not. Maybe that's just the perspective you take on it that makes it a sacrifice or not.
Yeah, and maybe it's just growing up. Something you got to do.
Growing up.
Did I hear the coo of the peacock?
Of the mighty peacock? What, like a real bird sound?
Yeah, or is that outside your window? I thought I heard a cooing. No,
that was me going.
No, I heard a.
Okay, then you might be having a stroke. It's not me.
Press the peacock button.
Oh man, yeah. That would be a good objective for a refresh, eh? I wouldn't mind actually. I still have my my Tractor Pro account, so they're like DJ company. So I know you can get those buttons. Maybe I could get that.
Oh yeah, drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, Tim and Sid here, Sportsnet. I don't know if you listen to any of that stuff. Sports radio.
Vancouver stuff.
Oh, Toronto. Well, this is Canada wide, right? Tim and Sid on Sportsnet, the best. Sid's not on the show anymore, but man, they were so good with stuff like that. They made it somehow seem not corny.
I've been listening to The Bonfire. It's a Sirius XM show, and the producer there they'll take like stuff that people have said throughout the show in the past, or have different sound effects and stuff. But he's really quick at putting those sound effects in live. But it'd be good to have our own board with animal sounds. We got all these animals.
Oh yeah, not bad idea.
The mighty peacock.
Yeah, I think I remember that being its sound for sure.
Actually, it does sound. It sounds. I should know the sound because you can hear it coming. Like when you get into that park.
Oh yeah.
It's more about.
Help me!
I'm stuck.
I want to fly. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, well, what about you? Like I talked about what I think sacrifice is.
Yes, I would say just living where I am.
Oh yeah.
Being in there's multiple sacrifices there. It's just being in a different country, living under a different set of rules,
Mm-hmm.
living in a big city, and there's living away from family. I feel like I have quite a few sacrifices. Um, Living away from nature. So these are things that you kind of usually we can leave, and I think that kind of quenches some of the thirst of getting out there, seeing nature, doing different things, and then you can always come back to the city. And the city is good, but being stuck in the city is not something I want really. So I think that's a bit of a sacrifice. I would say I more and more as I get older, I like the idea of nature. Being able to go for a walk in the woods or park or anything, not just around buildings all the time.
Mm. Yeah, having experienced those sacrifices, I often think I'm okay with it. I would take it.
I like it, but I think the main part is not being able to leave.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
when you do get a little bit annoyed or a little antsy maybe, and then when you leave and then you're like, all right, I'm done with that. You come back, you have a new appreciation for what you missed.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess it goes both ways. Like I have my freedom here for sure. More in general, well, except for the stupid ass lockdown. But in general, I do have more freedom. But I've made other sacrifices too. Like I'm not as free to enjoy those things because everything is so goddamn expensive. So it goes a few different ways, right? It's if we go back to that, I mean, the idea was that it's a one way or like it's a spectrum or something. Like if you have freedom, or no, it doesn't say that. It says do not sacrifice your freedom for the sake of pomp and show. And a lot of what I've realized is of my journey that a lot of the things that I've left behind were pomp and show, but I still can bear. It's still like a constant struggle just to be alive here because it's so expensive. And I never had to think about that before. I never had to.
What kind of pomp or show did you do here? The going out?
Yeah, the going out, partying, and stuff like that. That's where all my money went. Yeah, that's where all of it went. And, yeah. I guess I was never really a huge spender on things, but like alcohol and stuff like that, for sure.
Can add up.
I did we did do a lot. I did do a lot of traveling, and that's not pomp and show. Like that's a good thing. I had that freedom of movement. There's another one too. Like it's great to have freedom of movement in Canada where I live now, but it's so damn expensive to move, and it takes forever. Like you are not as free as you think, right? I just want if there were a high speed rail, which I cannot believe there isn't, and especially in this area, that would make freedom of movement. That would make it real, a lot more real. Like I can't just wake up, get on a train and move. Like you've got to get in a car, and then you're stuck in your car. You're not free. Like there's an irony there that people think like, oh yeah, cars, I'm free to ride the open road. It's like, but you got to get out on the open road first, and then you're stuck like anything else. And when there's a problem, I'd rather have my life on tracks and then use my feet to get around. That's how it used to be.
Yeah. That's probably how I will do it. Also, if you're in Canada, it's like, if you want to fly anywhere, I guess you could fly to, little places, Detroit or New York or places like that, but it seems further away. in a sense. Like, it seems like from
Yeah.
here, going to Thailand or going to Japan or whatever seems feasible. But when you're back in Canada, you're like, what's the point of going to Detroit? Not gonna go there.
And like, yeah, but it takes so much to get moving, because you've got to get to the airport, you've got to, like, check in, you got to wait, you got to assume it's going to leave on time, and you got to go through customs. Like, yeah, I mean, there's always that for a short haul flight. Like, that's a problem. Traveling locally is less of a problem, but again, still got to go through the nightmare of getting to the airport. Oh God, I hated that.
But I feel like there's less desire if you're back in Canada. Like,
The
here,
desire.
because you're not attached to the country, you're like, it's only natural that I leave.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're liberated in that sense. I don't know. I don't feel like a strong attachment to Canada now that I'm back. Was gone for a long time. And that this whole lockdown thing has just been a year of shittiness, right? I've been back for 2.5 years. That's crazy to think about on its own. But if one plus of those as being in a lockdown, good Lord, it's a depressing note. But yeah, the freedom is great when you actually have it. And when you actually understand what that means. Sometimes we take for granted things that we're like, but I can do this. It's like, but you don't, and you can't. And have you experienced an alternative? I think that's the benefit of having traveled abroad and lived in very different circumstances. The idea that, me and you can say, like, well, that's all well and good. However, sometimes it's nice to just be able to walk onto a subway and get to where you want to go and not have to drive, park, pay. Oh my God, it's so expensive. I hate it. Yeah, I miss that for sure. So I sacrificed that to come here. That's not pomp and show. Now you got a car, and that's pomp and show. People do that all the time, right? They spend all their money on their car. So that's pomp and show. And then they sacrifice everything else. So there's an example from here. And I guess people don't really do that in Asia, other parts of the world, not to the same degree.
It's hard to say. I don't know if they can afford these vehicles or not, but they definitely have pomp and show vehicles.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Insane amount. But it seems like they can afford them or something. And then the other one, pomp and show, I don't know if everybody can afford this, but it would be the like luxury brands. I guarantee there's people spending money on the luxury brands that can't afford it. But it's one of those affordable ones if you are poor. Or not really poor, but you know what I mean. Well, like say a $2,000-$3,000 purse, you could save up. That's attainable, but a $150,000 car is not attainable.
Yeah. You can buy like a best in class camera, or you can go travel, right? You can spend thousands of dollars on a camera, or you can spend that on a trip, right? And that is a good example of freedom versus, something. But maybe depends on what you use that camera for, right? Like if you use that camera to get out and like I used to do, and like just, enjoy the city, go adventure, then that is part of freedom. So if it's not just something for show, to go a talking piece and like, oh, look at this, look at what I have, then maybe it's a part of your freedom and you're not making a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's more so than a purse, I would say.
Well, it's about that time. Say we wrap this puppy up. Do not sacrifice your freedom for the sake of pomp and show. What say ye?
I say yes. I'm not very showy. I like to save my money, and I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, lost in all of this is the fact that the Peacock is gaining quite a bit from his thing. Like, he's getting the female, which is the whole point of of his feathery dress, his finery. But in general, I just don't see a point. I'm also like you. I'm generally very frugal today, and I have to be. But think twice about what you spend your money on, I suppose, if we're talking about money. Is that thing just for show, or are you really going to use it, and will it provide you with a sense of freedom or some kind of, a hobby that's gonna bring value to you? Yeah, that's something I can agree on. I'm willing to spend money on things that I really, really enjoy and will use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the idea that it brings a hobby.
Oh man, yeah. Have you ever? Here's one for closing, and topic for another conversation. Is there anything sadder than an elderly person who is retired but has no hobbies? Do you know these people? Have you seen this? Have you heard about it?
My parents.
Oh yeah, I think it's the most dangerous thing that the most dangerous lie we've been sold on. The idea of retirement, which means ending, finishing. I can't imagine a life where I don't do something constructive. Sounds like the end of sounds like the end of life. What's the point?
Gotta do something.
Anyways, so do not sacrifice freedom for the pomp, stake, and show. Don't be a peacock. Be a pea man. I don't know. Be a pea.
Nah.
Be a peanut. I don't know. Peanut. Huh. All right. Well, that's it. If you're listening out there, thanks for continuing. We'll give you an update later about how we're feeling. And again, we need your feedback. So tell us what you think. If you like it, if you hate it, either way, it's awesome. And we're looking for feedback as we consider the future.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one here or there after 40 throughout the summer.
Yeah, check in. Let's see. Test things out. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and have a good weekend.
All right, goodbye.